My name is Anand Sanjaa and I'm from Mongolia. Currently I'm a student at an MBA program and I'm studying at the Sejong University. I'm 34 years old. I lived in Korea for 1.5 years. The surprising thing about Koreans at first was when I met the Koreans at first, they will usually ask me if I'm married, how old am I, my education, and it is kind of odd questions for somebody in my culture to talk when you meet at first time. Because in my culture, when you meet with somebody, we usually ask where you grew up, who you are, how many siblings you have, who's your mother and father, but we never usually ask for age, if you're married, those kind of questions. So that felt odd at first, but then I learned that it is a way of establishing a hierarchy maybe in Korean society, because when you meet somebody who's older than you are, you have to respect that person, and that's why usually Koreans ask for your age, and that actually felt odd for me at first. One of the things that I learned here is when Koreans apologize, they smile, and I've seen certain times when there's one lady, she tried to, she accidentally almost tried to run me over with her car, and she was smiling at me, and that was kind of weird for me, because in my culture I would expect that person to be shocked and be worried about me, not looking and smiling at me. So that was one of the experiences I felt that I was kind of odd to me at first. One of the major differences between the Mongolian drinking culture and Korean drinking culture is when you are drinking with somebody older in Korea, somebody who has higher status than you are, you usually face different directions and you take a drink. But in Mongolia, we don't do that. We usually face each other and then we drink the alcohol. But there's a lot of similarities between Mongolian drinking culture and Korean drinking culture. Like, for example, we never pour to ourselves. We pour for the friends, and when we give the drinks to the people, we always use right hand, and it's just one way of giving respect to that person. One of the biggest difference between Korea and Mongolia is Mongolians are nomadic culture, Koreans are agricultural culture, and for Mongolians, the respect for the animal is one of the most important things. But for Koreans, rice being a staple food is one of the most important things for Korean and Korean family. And every food that they eat, they always have a rice that goes with it. And one of the things that I learned in Korea is when you eat food, you always have to finish your rice, bowl of rice in front of you. And if you don't do that, people become offended, or people look at you as being unpolite. But in Mongolia, having a respect for the animal is completely different. One of the most surprising things I encountered in Korea is when pot of stew came in, when we were hanging out with our friends, Korean friends, and a pot of stew came in and it was placed in between everybody else, and everybody was eating from the same pot of stew. That kind of felt odd for me, because in my culture we always have a separate pots to eat for ourselves, and we never shared from the same pot, and that felt a little bit odd for me at first. And but after a while you get used to it. One of the most important things I learned in Korea too is when you talk with somebody who's older than you are, you always have to maintain a respectful posture, a respectful way of communicating. Even if that person is only 1 or 2 months older than you are, you have to show respect. In Mongolia, we do respect our elders and we do respect our older generations, but if you're like 1 year older or 2 year older, most people do not really care. And actually some people become offended if you keep telling him your older brother if he's only like 5 months older or 6 months older. So in Mongolia, if you're almost the same age, 1, 2, 3-year-old difference, mostly we become friends and we talk like friends. But in Korea, you have to understand, you have to know what's the age of that person and how you have to, and you have to know the way you have to communicate with that person. For the person who's coming to Korea first time, one of the most important things is to have respect for the culture. Respect somebody who's older than you, and that will help you big way, especially in understanding Korean culture and the way how Koreans live in Korea.